Trust is not romantic. It is not tender. It does not give you a sense of safety. The truth is brutal, and even more brutal is what we hide from ourselves. A man believes that a woman rejects him because he doesn't meet her expectations. But sometimes it's not his weakness that repels her. It's his strength that terrifies her. Because it's not you she's rejecting. She's rejecting in herself what you awaken in her. It's not about love. It's about power. Not over you, over herself. Philosophers have tried for centuries to understand love. Plato saw it as a path to eternal beauty. Schopenhauer, a biological illusion meant to ensure the survival of the species. And Nietzsche, he suspected that love is the most subtle form of the will to power. But none of them predicted that what we call emotion might be a psychological game. So deep we don't play it consciously. You know the feeling, you text her, silence. But you see, she watches your stories. She pretends not to see you, but her gaze stays with you the whole evening. It's not an accident. It's not ignorance. It's a defense mechanism. You are not a man to her. You are a mirror. And she hates her own reflection. Her mind is a battlefield, between desire and fear, between what she wants and what she doesn't allow herself. Freud spoke of the id, ego, and superego. But today we don't need psychoanalysis. We need courage. Because the woman who flirts and then disappears isn't manipulating you. She's trying to survive in a reality where intimacy feels like danger. She doesn't trust you, but not because you did something. She doesn't trust herself. Maybe as a child she cried in a room where no one came. Maybe her father was physically present, but emotionally unreachable. Maybe she learned that disappearing saves your life. And now, you, with your presence, are dangerous to her. Not because you'll hurt her, but because you might truly see her. And that hurts more than a blow. And you think it's love. But it's not love that drives you. It's hunger. Hunger for recognition, validation, present. Maybe your mother loved you conditionally. Maybe she rewarded you when you were a good boy. Maybe she scolded you for tears. So now, when a woman ignores you, your body doesn't understand logic. It understands emotion. And it tells you, earn it. Prove you're worthy. But you can't win this, because you're not fighting her. You're fighting the shadow of your own childhood. You don't desire her body. You desire for your wound to be seen. But she didn't come to heal you. She came to test your boundary. And when she sees that your value depends on her response, she will lose respect. Not because you're weak, but because you gave her control over yourself. A woman doesn't fall for the one who chases her. She tests, observes, analyzes. She's not looking for love. She's looking for a man who can say, I don't need you to know who I am, because only such a man won't play the game. Instead of analyzing her messages, he returns to himself. Instead of reacting to her silence, he reads the silence within his own soul. She says, you're different. I want a future with you. But her eyes say something else. They don't see you. They see a project, a future, an illusion. When you get too close, her psyche activates an alarm. She doesn't know this closeness. She doesn't trust it. And she runs away. And then she says it's your fault. It's not betrayal. It's projection. Because if she admitted her own fear, she would destroy the foundation on which she built her whole life. Philosophy doesn't give answers, but it gives tools. If you want to be free, stop responding to emotional tests like a child seeking approval. Start reading them like an adult who knows himself. You don't have to fix her. You don't have to understand her. But you must understand yourself. Because as long as you confuse hunger with love, you will chase women who feed you silence. And you will call it passion. Not every smile is an invitation. Not every silence is rejection. Sometimes what hurts is an echo. A real man does not give in. He does not demand love. He stands before himself naked, without illusions, and says, I know who I am, with you or without you, because only he who knows his worth can love without fear. And that is the greatest strength. It's not about you. It never was. What you see as betrayal may be a survival attempt. What you call coldness is armor built over years of ignorance, lack of safety, and inner chaos. Her running away doesn't always mean manipulation. Sometimes it's a soundless scream. I can't be close, but please don't leave me. And you, instead of hearing this, you react like a boy. You get angry, you run away, you blame yourself, because no one taught you that sometimes a woman's silence is trauma, not punishment. It's not your responsibility to fix her, but it is your task not to lose yourself, because if you lose yourself trying to save her, you will both drown. Being a man is not domination, it's not physical strength, it's not cold confidence. True masculinity begins where illusion ends, where you look into the eyes of a woman who doesn't know what she wants, and you don't try to convince her, because you already know that chaos doesn't need a teacher, it needs a boundary. Nietzsche warned, "He who fights with monsters should be careful lest he thereby become a monster." And if you gaze long into an abyss, the abyss also gazes into you. But in love, the abyss has eyes. Charming, wise, scared. Carl Jung would add, everything that irritates us about others can lead to an understanding of ourselves. So when a woman rejects you, maybe it's not a sign to get her back. Maybe it's a sign to finally get yourself back. And Lacan, he went further. He claimed desire is not about things. Desire is lack. It's an illusion of completeness that never was. And you try to fill that lack with a woman, but she is not whole. She is also a fracture. The love you desire often doesn't exist. Not in her, not in you, but in the space between an immature heart and the idea of happiness. It's not the woman who hurt you. Your hope hurt you, because you see her not as she is, but as you wanted her to be. She didn't leave. Your illusion broke. When you finally understand that you don't have to be chosen to be valuable, everything will change. You will stop chasing. You will start breathing. A woman is not a prize. She is not a comfort for your pain. She is a human, as lost as you are. And it's you who chooses, do you want to enter her chaos, or become the calm she still can't create? She doesn't know she's testing you, but her body knows. It's a subtle language delayed response, unexplained anger, unnoticeable withdrawal after a night full of tenderness. It's not coldness, it's fear, fear that you are real, because she got used to love hurting, and your presence is a threat, because it's too calm. If you love her, don't try to change her. Change yourself, not to keep her, but so you know when to leave. If what she gives is not enough, your heart is not a battlefield. It shouldn't bleed just because someone doesn't know what they want. Sometimes the greatest expression of love is to leave with dignity. Don't fight for what always needs to be proven. Don't beg for presents that disappears at the first hardship. Don't look for yourself in the eyes of a woman who doesn't yet see herself. Because true masculinity is not domination over a woman. It's mastery over yourself in the face of her chaos. And true love only begins when both sides stop fighting each other and start being ready to look in the mirror. The greatest suffering of a man does not lie in rejection, not in loss, but in silence that no one hears. Because who will ask a man if he has the strength to get up again? Who will notice his trembling hands when he pretends confidence? Who will hear how he screams without making a sound? No one, because his pain doesn't move anyone. It doesn't fit the narrative. It doesn't get likes. It doesn't look good on screen, so he wears a mask. Hard, determined, built from disappointments, humiliations and unmet expectations. But strength is not about never taking it off. Strength is knowing who you are when no one is watching. Because what you hide from the world is exactly what keeps you in a cage. And the worst prisons have no bars. They have heavies. They have voices in your head that say you are not enough, you don't deserve, you must prove yourself. Many men don't lose because of women. They lose because of themselves. Because they betray their boundaries, their values, their silence, to keep someone's presence. It wasn't the woman who betrayed you. It was you who abandoned yourself to be closer to her. And when she left, she didn't take only herself. She took the image in which you invested your whole existence. That's why you keep meeting the same type of woman. Not because you're unlucky, but because your nervous system only knows that language. The love you seek doesn't exist outside. Because until you heal the inner child, who learned that you have to earn attention, you will choose men who make you suffer. Not because they are bad, but because your pain is familiar, and the familiar is safe. But the day comes, quiet, unspectacular, when you look in the mirror and ask, what if I don't have to anymore? I don't have to chase. I don't have to prove. I don't have to bleed to feel alive. Because the life that keeps testing you can also be the life that awakens you, not through an answer, but through refusal to continue participating in the illusion. She will test you, not with words, with disappearance, hesitation, a penetrating look that disarms you but promises nothing. It's not a game, it's the language of her unconscious. She checks if you are rock or sand, if you can endure her storm, or if you will break under the pressure of her fear. Not because she wants to destroy you, but because that's how she distinguishes a man from a boy. If you want to be loved, you will always be dependent. If you want to be respected, you must first respect yourself. But if you want to be a point of reference, you must be ready not to be understood. Sometimes your presence is too strong for a woman who only knows absence. Sometimes your silence sounds like violence to someone who only heard screams. So she will try to break you, unconsciously, but passionately, because your calm is a revolution to her chaos. And here you stand, no longer a boy, no longer a man begging for attention. You stand as someone who walked through fire and understood that not every woman deserves your fire, because not every woman can bear it. It doesn't mean contempt. It means maturity. Love is not about fighting for someone until you run out of breath. Love is about knowing yourself well enough to know when to breathe alone. You are not a rescuer. You are not a mirror. You are not a therapist for someone else's chaos. You are space, presence, depth. And if a woman cannot respect that, don't stoop to the level of fighting. Leave in silence, because your silence may be the loudest manifesto of your worth. In every woman you love, there is a little girl who wanted to be seen, and a woman who learned that showing herself is a threat. The love she gives you is a mix of these two worlds. And if you don't understand this duality, you will turn your masculinity into a reaction. But that's not why you are a man. Masculinity is not about reacting. Masculinity is a presence that does not need an immediate response. It is being the axis around which feminine chaos can revolve, without disturbing your inner peace. When she tests your patience, she does not want to destroy you. She wants to see if you will destroy yourself under the influence of her storm, if you will become her reflection or remain yourself, because only a man who does not need her acceptance is capable of true leadership, not because he controls her, but because he controls himself. Think about it. How many times have you confused love with struggle? How many times did you think that the more you suffer, the more you love? That her drama is a sign of passion? That her withdrawal is depth? It was not depth, it was a repetition. From childhood, from a home where emotions were weapons. But you are no longer a boy, you are an adult. And adulthood is not an age. It is a decision not to repeat old stories. Imagine you sit opposite her. She says she doesn't know what she wants, that you are too calm, too confident, too present. Let that not be a wound for you, let it be a mirror. Because what she calls too much is what she didn't know. And what she doesn't know awakens fear in her. But you are not here to erase her fear. You are here to see yourself and not forget. The boy inside you wants to be loved. The man wants to be respected. But the king, he wants to know the truth. Even if that truth hurt, because the king does not negotiate his worth. He does not kneel before feminine approval, and he does not trade his soul for temporary presence. The king looks, he listens, he decides, and if he sees that a woman cannot bear his presence, he does not blame her. He does not blame himself. He simply closes the door without noise. You don't want love. You want resonance. You don't want a partner. You want a mirror of the soul. But before you get that, you must become yourself. Build yourself not around her gaze, but around your silence. Not begging for her attention, but asking yourself, does she really see you? Because the worst loneliness is not the absence of a woman. It is the presence of a woman who looks, but does not see. And now you know. Not every woman who desires you is ready to accept you. Not every woman who speaks of love understands its weight. Your task is not to lead her through every shadow. Your task is not to lose the light inside yourself, even when her shadow falls on your heart. You are no longer hungry for illusions. You do not look for a mother in a lover. You do not look for a home in a body. Because home, you already have, inside yourself. If you love her, let her go. If you are ready, do not try to convince her. Because a real woman does not need you to fight for her presence. She wants a man who knows his worth so well that he does not need to convince anyone of it. Sometimes the greatest expression of strength is to leave quietly, not with contempt, not with anger, but with that calm certainty. I know my worth, and that is enough. As a man, you unconsciously seek in her something more than a body, more than closeness. You seek salvation. You do not say it out loud. You do not show it in conversations. But somewhere deep inside, you count on her presence healing your past. That in her eyes you will find the peace no one gave you before. That her touch will erase all the moments when you felt unwanted, invisible, insufficient. This is not love. It is hope anchored in a woman. And it will become your prison. Because no man should carry such a burden. She is not your God, and you are not her savior. Every relationship with a woman is a trial, not an emotional one, a spiritual one. Her beauty, chaos, changeability are not obstacles. They are symbols. They represent what in you is unformed, what you have not yet embraced with your own awareness. She pulls the shadow out of you. She strips away the illusions you sold yourself. She unleashes the anger you didn't want to see. And she shows you whether you are ready to truly see, or if you are still just projecting. It's not her who hurts you. It's your own illusions that crumble in her presence. A man who doesn't know himself reacts. He attacks or withdraws. He criticizes or idealizes. He loves too much or hates without a word. That is not strength. It is a reaction to your own shadow. Because when you can't embrace your sensitivity, you pull a woman into a game she didn't create, and then you say she was toxic. But it's not her. You weren't ready to see who you really are when someone looks at you without filters. You won't understand yourself in the light of women's eyes. You will understand yourself in silence, in loneliness that hurts so deeply, it begins to transform. This is not loneliness by choice. It is initiation, silence where you no longer have anywhere to hide. Neither from the woman nor from the world, nor from yourself. And then, you finally hear the voice that was always inside you. It doesn't say you are perfect, it says you are real, and suddenly you stop writing. Not because you swell with pride, but because you no longer need an answer. You don't track her movements, because your attention has returned where it should have been from the start, inward. You don't wait, because you understood that no one has the right to hang you between hope and disappointment, and you no longer try to be enough, because you are complete, even if you are alone. Love is not about someone staying. Love is a space where you don't have to prove anything, where you can simply be, and that is enough. If you meet her, she will know. She will not test you. She will not disappear on you, because she will be present not only with her body but with her whole self. But before you recognize her, you must first become what she is meant to be. You cannot attract presence if you still live in lack. She may never come back. She may never apologize. She may never understand. And that is okay, because your destiny was not to fix her. Your destiny was to discover yourself through her, and then move on, without regret, without struggle, without words. You are not here to prove your worth. You are here to radiate it, silently, steadily, uncompromisingly.